Hello everyone, my name is Kaylee Ferguson, for those that I have not had the pleasure of talking to yet through discussion boards or peer review groups. Today I'll be sharing some information with you surrounding the relationship between dancers and disordered eating. First, I would like to begin by having you take a look at the images on the screen. These are the images that pop up when one Googles dancers. When we look at these images, we can see that they portray a singular idea about body shape and what some researchers call the dancer aesthetic. The dancers that pop up on this Google search all appear to be thin with a lower body weight. This portrays a certain idea to society and aspiring dancers like myself and my community that I'll talk about later. That is what they should strive to look like as a dancer. This idea and the other pressures placed on dancers will be further discussed through this presentation. I would like to now share a statistic with you that I came across during my research. A New York psychologist who has worked with dancers with eating disorders stated that 1 out of 2 dancers suffer from an eating disorder. This psychologist's name was Linda Hamilton, and this was written in a Washington Post article in 2018. This demonstrates that during her work with dancers, she has observed that roughly half of them have symptoms of 1 or more eating disorders. Dancers who have been classified time and time again as a high-risk group for eating disorders, which is why I have chosen this as my wicked problem for this project. For those of you who don't know me well, I am currently on the university dance team here, and I have been for the last 3 years of my undergraduate career at Mount Union. I started dancing at the young age of 5, and I got my first pair of pointe shoes in 5th grade. You're probably wondering why any of this matters right now, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you. The issue I've been exploring for this literacies assignment is with dancers, as I've been talking about, and its relationship to the development of eating disorders. As I've been dancing for a long time, and I've experienced different settings from studio dance to musical theater and now to collegiate dance, I feel that this is an arena I'm very passionate about and can research with a clear understanding of the problem. My hope is to utilize this information and research that I found to offer possible solutions to a community I'm extremely invested in. Now I'll share with you the specific community in this dance realm that I chose to focus on and a little bit more about the problem that this community faces. So the focus of my project and the community and problem I focused on was dancers here at the university. We call ourselves PRDT for Purple Raider Dance Team. If you haven't heard that before, that's who we are. And the problem is eating disorders like I have talked about earlier. A little more in a background for this community for you to better understand my project. PRDT is comprised of 10 dancers, including myself. We are all Caucasian, ages 18 to 22. We perform at all home football and basketball games. We are the entertainment for halftime. We do sidelines and timeouts. We also compete in a POM category as well as game day for competition in Orlando, Florida, which takes a lot of time and a lot of pressure, and it's very competitive. We practice 4 to 5 days a week every week. This usually varies between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Not usually Sundays, but sometimes we have to for competition. We are under contract here at the university to uphold service requirements within our community and uphold academic scholarship and maintain a GPA and good standing with the university. I would now like to discuss something really quick before moving further into my project. As this community is at the collegiate level of dance, I would like to also take into account how the general population of college students are also a common risk group for eating disorders. So when you think about it, I want you to think dancers are a high-risk group, and the level and the age of these dancers for my community are also a high-risk group. A survey taken by the American College Health Association found that 3% of females and 0.4% of males reported ever receiving a diagnosis of anorexia. 2% of females and 0.2% of males reported a previous diagnosis of bulimia. And 4% of females and 1% of males reported vomiting or taking laxatives to lose weight in the previous 30 days of this study in 2021 by Rittenhouse. College students may also be more likely to engage in binge eating behaviors due to increased stress, adjusting to living on their own if they haven't before, or an inconsistent daily living schedule, just varying from semester to semester, different classes, professors calling off, just adjusting to this new lifestyle that is college and balancing all of this academic work with personal lives, with relationships, with family and visiting them. It's a lot. So I kind of want you to think this community I'm focusing on here at Mount Union, the dance team, it's a high-risk group for the sport that we are, and it's a high-risk group for the age and where we're at as a collegiate level team. So myself and you, college students, are at a higher risk level for eating disorders. So I just would like to point that out and have that taken into consideration through this. A little more on my problem, a little background for eating disorders for those of you that might not be too familiar with them. I pulled a definition from eatingdisorderhope.com back in 2020. They stated, eating disorders are serious mental and physical illnesses that involve complex and damaging relationships with food, eating, exercise, and body image. Over on the right here, I went ahead and included the common types and classifications that people see a lot with eating disorders. These are anorexia, bulimia, binge eating disorders, pica, rumination disorder, and restrictive avoidant intake disorders, as well as other specified eating disorders. The acronym is OSFED for that. I went ahead and italicized the focus types that I will be focusing on for this project because that is what my research focused more on. These are anorexia, bulimia, and other specified eating disorders. These are very common in dancers and seen a lot, these three. So that is what I focused on for this project. I would like to now talk and discuss with you the common factors that I have found through my research in influencing eating disorders among dancers. The first one I would like to talk about is perfectionism. As dancers, we are constantly looking in the mirror at practice and looking at ourselves. Is that the right angle? Are we quasi to the corner? Different things. And we always are looking at our body image and how we're displayed through dance. We also have to be right on beat with our music because if we're not and we're off beat, it doesn't look as right? We're dancers. Our instrument is our body, and if we don't time our body up perfectly with the song or the beats, it can look off, or we can get dock points. So perfectionism is a trait that's extremely evident amongst dancers and as a targeted and research group. It's shown a correlation to eating disorders as Penniman and Egan researched in 2017. They found on page 20 of their journal that dancers who showed higher with perfectionism also experienced more eating disorder symptoms. Another factor I'd like to talk about is coach and family influence. I don't think that many people realize how important your family and your coach or your educator, those supporters that you have, those mentors you have, those people that guide you and are there for you, they have a very strong relationship and influence on you, especially as dancers. Relationships with these coaches and teachers has been researched as another factor that is a big influencer on eating disorders. A couple researchers researched it in 2009 and found that approximately 1/3 of girls with EAT scores were compatible with eating disorders, and they reported that they felt highly pressurized by coaches in their choice of food, their physical appearance, and their weight control, and that was found on page 47 of the published piece. A third factor I want to talk about is media and professional acceptance. Pop culture chooses to display thin dancers in their magazines, online, digitally, and in well-attended productions. And these all influence the idea of how a dancer should look. And aspiring dancers like myself, or dancers that are studying in college to go on, like those on the PRDT, it tells them that they should look this way, that they should behave this way, that they should look at their body and want it to be that way of the dancer who's in this production or this famous dancer that's in this magazine. So I think that's another factor that we should also take into consideration when we think about eating disorders. And I'll talk more about this later. I would like to now talk about some solutions that I've been thinking of and using my research to create. One of these is nutrition literacy and just becoming literate as a dancer with guidance for healthy eating habits and maintaining a healthy body, because as we are dancers, our body is our instrument, so we want to be healthy. We can't do leaps across the stage if we're not well nutritioned, right? So encouraging healthy eating habits and healthy relationships with food and body image for dancers, and doing this by presenting them with meal guides. And these meal guides would be suited for their nutritional needs based on their individual body BMI scores and created by a nutrition or dietitian, so a professional that does this full time. Also by nutrition sessions, having and presenting dancers with nutrition sessions about healthy choices given by a professional. Through my research, Christy Hunt pointed out in her published journal that by informing dancers of the effects of eating disorders and educating them on those, dancers can see how bad that these unhealthy habits are for their body, mind, and soul. And by being aware of these unhealthy habits and the effects of them and how they're destroying your body and they're limiting and restricting you as a dancer, these unhealthy choices, it can really put in perspective for the dancer how they can start taking these more healthy steps to better themselves. Another solution that I was thinking about is going along with literacy is the information sessions for coaches and families. Offering information sessions focused on the relationship that coaches and families hold in promoting the dancer's best interests relating to their body shape, thinness, the expectations, the comparisons, positive and negative health benefits or actions could be very influential in the dancer's experience at practice or at a performance or wherever they might be. So for this community, at practice and at games and at our competition in Orlando, Jennifer Krogman talked about this relationship with coaches and the teachers of dancers in her handbook in 2002, and she really stressed that a positive bond in a positive relationship is central for this issue with eating disorders. Another one I'd like to talk about is movement therapy, yoga, and meditation. Incorporating different types of mindfulness and mental health related therapies to encourage dancers in becoming better contact with their body. And I think this is another solution that could really help with eating disorders in specific, because getting in tune with your body and feeling good with your body and understanding your body and being happy about your body and what it is, it helps so that every time you go into practice and you look at the mirror, you're not like, oh, and become discouraged. So really getting in tune with your body and understanding it and growing a liking for it could really help. I think that having these once a week or every other week, these meditation, yoga, or movement therapy sessions could be very beneficial. I think that they should be during the allotted practice time that we have here, so these dancers on PRDT are not balancing too much with outside academic work, with relationships, with personal lives. So it would be in the allotted dance time practice. The last solution I want to talk about is mobile check-ins. The implementation of digital daily mental health check-ins, I think, would be extremely beneficial. I know the soccer team here does it, so I kind of got my idea and stemmed off that and build on it a little more. I think this would allow dancers to formally check themselves. It allows coaches to see the behind-the-scenes emotions and well-being of their dancers, and it gives them time to think about, hey, my dancers reported on their mobile check-in yesterday that they're really tired and restless. Maybe I should not hit practice as hard with competition. Maybe I should look at this first, or maybe I should implement a yoga session to calm everybody down and give them a chance to debrief and talk about things that are going on in their lives before we jump into the serious nature of practice. It also promotes a positive relationship with the coach and the dancers and just a better overall climate and environment with that. So these could be done with Google Forms or any other survey type or method that they want to use. I think twice a week would be great for the community here, as we do practice 4 to 5 times a week. I think it's really important to show that the coach cares and also that the dancer cares enough to complete it, to show and be in tune with their body and know, hey, have I been eating healthy this week? Have I been hydrated this week? Have I been getting enough sleep this week? Oh, maybe this is affecting how I feel, and promoting these healthy habits. Possible limitations would be funding for these professional nutritionists and dietitians, accessing funding for training, and this ongoing presentation of the dancer through pop culture and media. As we're not considered a sport here, funding and focus is mainly on OAC sanctioned sports and not us, and we already have a small budget as is. Overall, I think these solutions would be great starting points and could encourage healthy eating habits. So, thank you.